Hey, what's up everyone? Today I have a game review for you guys for my main account. As you can see, I had a performance rating of 2750 on the account, and then from the thumbnail you probably could have inquired that was 100% accuracy. But without further ado, let's dive in. We have e4 for my opponent, and I of course play b6, the Owen's defense. He goes knight to f3, so I attack it. And those who have seen my rapid gameplay videos, you may know that knight c3 is pretty common. Sometimes you see d3 occur. Rarely you might even see like a queen e2, or even more rare, you might see someone push the pawn. But in this case, my opponent defended with knight to c3. So I just played e6, opening up my bishop to attack that knight. We get d4, so he's just really taking control of the center right here. So I just attack his knight, so this pawn is technically hanging right now, so he needs to defend it. Again, there's a few different ways you could defend it. The bishop can defend it, the queen can defend it, or the queen can defend it here. Another cool way to defend it that a lot of people don't do is they go the knight back to d2. And they actually offer up the double pawn, but they're actually quite solid. There's nothing wrong with that move. And a lot of grandmasters do play it when the Owen's defense does come up. But in this game, my opponent played bishop to d3. Again, I keep my pressure on the pawn. I have 2 points of attack on it, and this is not a defender still, due to the pin. So he's only got one line of defense, so he needs to defend it yet again, or push it out of danger. He does defend it with the queen. So again, we put another point of attack on that pawn. So now it's 3. I'm not going to do the math again for you guys, but it's now 3 versus 2. So once again, he has to find something to do with this. He either has to trade it off, in which case I have a pretty solid position, and I could threaten a double pawn, or what he could do is he can push forward, because there's no more defense, unfortunately, that he could use here. Even if he tries doing something like this so the knight is no longer tied to this pin, it's too late, because I'm just going to take the knight, and once he recaptures whichever way he does, I'm then going to have the more attackers on that pawn than he has defenders. So my opponent pushes, so I sneak in right here. Normally you don't want to do something like this because you could end up with double pawns that are pretty easy to grab. However, this is something that is actually book theory on the opening. So in this case it's okay for your opponent to capture and you to recapture, because again, he can't take just yet. Queen does not want to drop to the bishop, so the knight has to end up moving. And wherever the knight moves, that knight was defending this pawn, which previously wasn't something that I could take, but now my queen is free to pick it up. So he goes knight to g5. It is defended by the bishop, but I'm not interested in that anyway. So I grab this pawn, and now I'm threatening to take with check, recapture with pawn, and check, and the rook will be falling. So to avoid that, my opponent castles, and unfortunately that is another inaccuracy, and the reason for that is that I pick up this knight. So now he has these doubled pawns and an isolated pawn here, so that's the first bad thing. Second bad thing is I now have another free pawn, so we're now 2 pawns up with the black pieces, and pretty comfortable position. We're 1 move away from castling. The only minor piece we still have to develop is this knight, probably to d7, but all these squares are an option right now, just due to the due to the layout of my opening. And also importantly, I have both c5 as a move option as well as a5. So if I did want to kind of end this game quickly, then I could even go for a queenside castle and feel pretty safe against this setup. But my opponent makes another mistake, and I capitalize immediately. And the reason why this move is a mistake is because he's not actually in danger of losing this knight since it was protected by the bishop. However, there is the tactic bishop to a6, threatening the queen, that is going to win me even more material. Reason for that is, if the queen moves out of the way, you'll lose the rook, so I win the exchange. So he may think, oh, threat levels, well, I'll just go for his rook instead. My queen actually covers that. Well, okay, why don't I just block the bishop? Then your rook will hang. So the only thing he could do is just move here to g4. I took the rook, and then I think he realized that you know, he was only going to be losing more material. So if he doesn't pick up this bishop now, then it's free. So he has to pick it up. Then I grab this, threatening the rook. Only thing that saves the rook is this. And you'll see that I'm up 5 points of material. But yeah, if you were to look at the game review, that's 100% accuracy. This is something that you probably won't run into too often in a classical game, just because taking this is a pretty big mistake. Again, if you look at it too quickly, you think, oh yeah, it's just double pawns, you know, I'm going to move my knight out of the way, I'm going to have 3 points of attack on it. But you are dropping that d4 pawn, followed by a few other pawns. So I highly recommend learning and opening super specifically with a lot of accuracy, a lot of sidelines and stuff like that, just because you can get a lot of quick games in like this, not to mention that you can be very confident heading into your middle games. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you for the next video.